Hi fellow readers, today I'm going to be talking about the manga series Blue Flag, which you might have seen me open in one of my manga hauls. And then I completed the series not that long ago, like I finished buying the rest of the volumes, and so I decided to give it a total series read and review. So there are 8 volumes of this series altogether. I'm going to read the back of the first volume and then I'll give you my thoughts overall. So love is already hard enough, but it becomes an unnavigable maze for unassuming high school student Taichi Ichinose and his shy classmate Futaba Akuze when they begin to fall for each other after their same-sex best friends have already fallen for them. I actually think that's a major spoiler that I'm not sure I would have written like directly on the back of here, but anyway. For some reason, Taichi Ichinose just can't stand Futaba Akuze. But at the start of his 3rd year in high school, he finds himself in the same homeroom as her, along with his childhood friend Tomamita, a star athlete. But one day, Futaba opens up to Taichi and admits she has a crush on Toma. She then asks for his help in confessing to him. Not again. I don't know why I said that. There's just one problem. Toma seems to already have a secret crush on someone else. So, honestly, for the first volume, I would have stuck with just that bottom part, because I think revealing the top part kind of spoils more of like what happens second volume. I mean, it's fine because most people who read Blue Flag know that that is the main point or conflict in the series. We have more of like the love quadrangle where Futaba has admitted to Taichi that she has a crush on Toma, and at first in their interactions, Taichi agrees to help Futaba confess, like get closer to Toma in order to confess. So like they're going to become closer as friends, and then maybe more will happen. Although he does also warn Futaba from the beginning that there's a good chance, you know, they're not going to date or anything, that her crush on Toma will come to no avail. But they agreed to work together anyway. And as the course of these things go, it ends up turning out that Toma already has a crush on someone and is not really interested in the ladies. And we find that out through Futaba's best friend, which I don't remember her name right now. But after they interact a little bit, she kind of confronts Toma, and that's more of when we get the glimpse that, yeah, Toma is in love with Taichi. I mean, there are clues pretty much in volume 1 that kind of shows more of their dynamic and how they feel about one another. But I feel like the initial setup of their dynamic is sort of gotten away from as the volume progresses and then moves on to the other volumes, where the dynamic then becomes that Taichi has had interests in other girls. Specifically, there was one girl that he really liked her and she interacted with him and they got really, really close. And then it turned out she was only close with him to try to get close to Toma. So he felt really betrayed by that situation and sort of stopped hanging out with Toma, even though they were childhood friends. Like, this wasn't just, oh, Toma was a classmate and friends. They have been friends since they were very small and so close. And then with that kind of betrayal from that girl, he drifts away from Toma. And he still gets that wariness. And it is a case too where as he's getting closer to Futaba in order to help her become friends with Toma, 1, it does kind of rekindle his friendship with Toma, but 2, he starts to develop feelings for Futaba and then starts getting jealous of Toma again, because here's another girl that he is having feelings for that wants Toma and not him, so he always feels second best. And yeah, this is a series that's very emotionally complex, and you sort of take that roller coaster ride with it, and it's very authentic, very real, and very much and those vibes similar to like O Maidens in Your Savage Season, where it's such a realistic fiction and portrayal of relationships and the complexity of relationships. I don't want to get too spoilery, but it does become more of, will everybody confess their true feelings? And if everybody does, like, what will Taichi do? He has a best friend that he has loved for mostly their whole life, but has always seen him as like kind of this star athlete and this friend, and also this kind of competition really for like affection of others. And if his friend comes to him and is like, I love you, I love you, I've loved you forever, that's a hard thing to think about. Like, could he ruin their relationship and their friendship if he turns Toma down? But then also, what is his feelings for Futaba? Can they be in a relationship, and do they really care for one another? Will Futaba's friend confess her feelings for Futaba? There's just a lot going on, and it's worth the ride of all 8 volumes. You're going to be on that roller coaster of emotion and wondering, one, is there a best choice? I mean, obviously, I think that people should go with their heart and whatever their heart tells them, whichever way that is. But is there a way to lose someone by choosing someone else? And there's just a lot of complexity there. But it's a great ride, and so authentically done that you feel like that conflict and the pain of emotion and the fulfillment of emotion. And I think it has a very solid ending as well that may or may not surprise people. It was really good. It was so well done that I was like, well done. I found it interesting too that for most of the series it is done as like the third person, like typical manga where like you might follow one character and then another. But then there are certain scenes where it will flip to the perspective of Toma, and then you're suddenly in the manga in first person, where what you're seeing is like, and perceiving is through the eyes and mind of Toma. And I thought that was really interesting, because you don't get too much of that in the manga. Like, most of what you will see with Toma's interactions, again, are like third person, where we're observing what's happening. But then there are like 2 key moments where we flip into like his first person perspective, and it's fascinating how that's done. I'm assuming that that is intentional for the narrative to get a proper fullness that it needed to do that flip with perspective, but it was really well done. This is definitely a series that could be assessed from a literature standpoint and even an artistic like standpoint of total assessment of why choices were made, how the narrative structure works because that was made, which really hints to a brilliance in the piece that you can do that. Yeah, this was very successful, and I'm very much a fan. Again, very similar to how I felt about the emotional roller coaster that happens with O Maidens in Your Savage Season. The manga like this that is like very true depictions of relationships and struggles are so worth a read. And there's when you can find the series like that, they stick with you. Like, they're so worth it. I've read a lot, but it's ones like that they stick with me, and they want, like, I feel the need to like recommend them everywhere and tell people to read them, because they're so good, and they capture such a human element and emotional element, and it's brilliant. So I'm not going to go on forever with this, but I do feel like Blue Flag is very solid. I also don't feel like I need to really advertise that much for the series, because I feel like it already has an audience and a lot of respect. and it's totally worth it. I would say if you're one of the people who have not heard of it or read it yet, you definitely want to pick this up. It's worth it. It 100% is worth it. You're going to go on a great journey that I think also has a great payoff. And I think you're going to love all the characters as well. Like you don't really want any of them to be in pain. You want to see them all happy and succeeding at whatever they do. Like they're that well written. So on to other things. That's it for this video. Until next time. Bye.